No.
No.
Yes.
Maybe.
No.
No.
Maybe yes.
People who think of ending up are so weak.
You are such a failure.
You are faking it.
What are you crying about? Other people have it way worse than you.
Enough of these comments.
It's time to express.
It's time to share.
It's time to listen.
Battling bipolar disorder, depression and anxiety for quite a while now. I have tried to take on my life thrice by taking antidepressants, but luckily I got saved. I understand how it feels because the numbness, the pain, the anxiety, the stillness inside you, it's horrifying. Nobody can understand that. That's what you feel at that particular point of time. But trust me, if you talk to someone close to you, help is just a voice away. You just need to voice that you are in need of some help. I have always sought comfort in books. I read a lot of self-help books. I write, I color. I can't draw, so I color. So yeah, my only suggestion to you guys who are battling this is, I know how it feels and I know how difficult it is to open up, but trust me, there are people around you who will stand by you.
Yes, I felt depressed, and maybe in 2019 was my very depressing period of my life, and even right now I kind of feel a little depressed after hearing the news of the death of Sushant, because we all are coming in terms with it, and also maybe it is hormonal before 10 days before period when you are PMSing. So I have that extreme depression during that time. I don't know why it is, but I started contemplating on that. Like, it gives me so much pleasure, I don't know why. I just wanted to sometime just contemplate, like I want to jump from the building or just commit suicide. Like, it just comes naturally. Like, you just contemplate, you think like how peaceful that can be. Right now, so I feel a little depressed, maybe because of my upcoming period, maybe. But I have come in terms with it. I know that it is because of my period. And once I'm done with it, I will feel better. I'll feel energetic again. So I have made peace with it. And usually when it happens, I go up to terrace. I try not to talk to anyone, even with my loved ones, my family, my partner, anyone. I try to keep them away. I just take my own time, talk to myself maybe sometimes, and just make myself relax, think of some good hobbies or do something, just to calm myself.
Hi, I'm Chaitra here. I feel it is very important to talk about depression. Sometimes people often neglect the depressed person. If even he expresses his thoughts, people just tell that you take it everything very seriously. Yes, of course, a depressed person take everything very seriously because he means the gravity of it. So do not take a depressed person very, very light-hearted. If a person conveys something to you, please try to understand his situations. Like any other diseases, even depression is a silent killer disease. Through this campaign, I would like to urge to everybody, please give from your side a small moral support to the depressed victim so he could have a happier life.
Yes, I have been at a very dark phase in my life. This was somewhere around 4 to 5 years back. And yes, I did have suicidal thoughts at that point of time, and probably I would have gone into a darker space if I didn't reach out and didn't seek help at the right time and at the right point of time, I would say. So maybe instead of going into a shell, and rather acknowledging it is the first step. I think the day we acknowledge it is the first step towards getting yourself better, and treating yourself and actually making an effort to move in the right direction. And more than reaching out to a counselor or a doctor, the first step would be to talk to someone who is in your immediate circle, who you trust completely, and you're sure that they would give you the right advice. So acknowledging it first step, and then talking to someone who understands you, and they will then redirect you to the right source. So that was what I did, where I found the support system within my first family circle, and that really helped at that point of time, because if not, things would have gone downhill and spiraled downwards. So acknowledging it first, and then it took me a long time actually to acknowledge the fact that I actually had something wrong, and I wasn't ready to accept it. But when the acceptance came in, taking the next step of going to see a counselor was much easier, where I knew that something was wrong and I needed help. So I sought out a counselor, and that, I think that was the best decision I could take at that point, and it has really helped me. So anyone out there who actually needs help, my first suggestion would be, please go ahead and take that help. There is nothing to be ashamed of. There is nothing to feel bad about or look down upon yourself. Yes, our society doesn't accept something is wrong with the mental health, that they don't equal it to a physical illness, but it is as dangerous and as scary as a physical illness, and it should be taken seriously.
Yes, life can be difficult sometimes, so I did not know if I should be sharing it with somebody, but I did it with a friend, and that eventually helped. So a message for anybody going through a tough phase or feeling like they have some suicidal ideas or suicidal thoughts, all that is needed is just some patience, some amount of faith that things are gonna get better. You don't need to rush through it. Don't rush through it. Don't try ignoring those feelings. Don't deny, but just be there. You know how they say the only way out is through. So I think that is something which needs to be synced in, that you don't really rush through it and just be in the moment, be in that emotion, and I'm really sure that things can get better with some amount of patience. That's it.
There were times in my life when I felt that the whole world doesn't make any sense, and there was time when things were like dragging me like anything. It was a huge, my heart was like heavier than a ton, and I could not just wake up out of my bed, and I was so tired with everything which is happening around, and I don't know exactly what the reason. Also, that is the main issue here. You never know to point out what exactly is the reason. Maybe a lot of things had piled up and everything. What you exactly require, or what helped me then, is we need a change in environment. Try to get out with all the strength, and talk to people who cares for you, because they just keep in your mind that there are actually people who are ready to help you. Talk to them, and if required, get a professional help. Find, keep the numbers with you, keep the contacts with you, and talk to people who can really help you. And just understand that whatever you're going through, it's very normal to have those thoughts, and it's very normal. It's just like a physical illness, like you have a cough or cold or fever, a little bit more fever, things like that. But you need to look after that like you do when you have a physical illness.
It's okay to fall into depression, but it's certainly not okay to suffer silently all alone, especially today when we have a lot of professional options out there that can help us overcome this. It's certainly not magic or some miracle that's going to happen overnight or with a blink of an eye. It does take constant efforts, it consumes a lot of energy, but at the end it's all worth it. So there might be 1,000 reasons you would want to die for, but actually all you need to do is find the one reason that you can live for. Take care, stay safe.
Hi, my name is Priyal Bora and I have been a victim of depression. Few times I have had the feeling of giving up on my life, and as and when I felt that, I have always made it a point to reach out and communicate to people, whether be it a professional or a loved one. My only advice to you all is that while I know that it is the most difficult thing that can ever happen to you, I also know that it's very important to seek help. So lastly, I just want to say that I know life is tough, but you are tougher.
I'm Sridhi and I'm 4th year law student. Though I have never felt like to attempt suicide, but I have had some moments in my life where I felt constant demotivation and dealt with condescending people. One thing I've learned is how to overcome it, how to overcome all this negativity. Divert your mind. Do something what makes you happy. Do that thing, but divert your mind from all this negativity. I've started doing meditation, and I must say that there's immeasurable power in meditation, and I will suggest everyone to try it. Meditation makes you feel happy from the inside. I would suggest everyone to try meditation, be happy, do self-care, pamper yourself as much as possible.
I was physically unable to walk at a certain point in my life because of an injury, and I overcame that asking out for help. First, understanding the situation, accepting the situation, and finding a solution with a lot of hope that I will be able to achieve and overcome. Doctors had said I have to do surgery to bring my kneecaps that were out of place back to normal. I said no to surgery, and I took to yoga to build and rebuild from where I had been. Today, with a lot of care to my body, to my mind, I have overcome. I have strengthened without surgery both my knees. I still dance, I still play sport, and I do yoga. Therefore, helping each one of you, whether it is physical, obstacles, mental or emotional. We are in this together, and you are not alone. All you need is to hold on to hope, a positive mindset and attitude, and a courage to ask for help. When you ask, you will receive.
There have been a phase in my life too where I thought about committing suicide. I was depressed then, and a depressed mind does not think whether this act of ending one's life is courageous or is cowardly. All it sees is that problem is larger than life, and you want to end it. End your life so that the problem ends. But before I could take that last step of ending my life, I somehow thought of calling my friend. I told her I just want you to listen and not judge or comment on it. Luckily she picked up the call, and 3 hours straight we spoke about my problem. She only listened, never commented, never judged. That changed my mind. That brought me back from taking my life. In this world of social media, in a virtual world, we are so happy. But a depressed person may look as normal as any other person. It's only about listening. It's only about counting your blessings that you have, maybe a reason to live a little longer. In this period, in this era, we have help at the tips of our finger. Dial the number. It is as good as going to a doctor to get yourself treated. If you're sick, your mind needs treatment too, and it's all right to get that treatment. Get it. Call up a counselor, call up a therapist, speak to them, they will help you. If there is a morning to a night, there is always a solution to the problem.
If you have the best intentions at heart, sometimes you may end up doing more harm than help. A mental health professional is trained to deal with any kind of emotional crisis. So if you know someone who might be going through a rough patch, encourage them to seek out help from a mental health professional. Also, if possible, arrange appointments for them and accompany them to those appointments. And the last step that you have to do is stay connected. Even after you have gotten them in touch with a professional, it is important that you stay in touch with them and you follow up with what is happening to them. Also, make sure that there's an active support system in place with a person who might be going through any kind of emotional or mental pain. So, and lastly, remember there's hope and there's help. Please look out for one another and be kind to one another. Also, try to look at what the person might be trying to tell you non-verbally and through their actions rather than just words. I hope this helps. Please reach out to me if you need any more information or if you feel like talking. Thank you.
Yes, I have thought about it. It was around 3 months after my dad suddenly passed away. There was an event, kind of a funfair kind of event, which was going down in the building where all the families were there together. I wanted me, my mom and my brother to go for that, but my mother was a different person after going through that personal loss, and my brother was exactly not in a position to process what was going on. So it's at that time that I felt that something about my life is completely irreparable. There's a big void and it's broken and it can never be fixed. And at that time I thought that I wanted to end it. I wanted to go to my father where he is, and probably that will make me happy. But it lasted for some time, that thought, and then I realized it that the thought scared me and I wanted to do something about it, because I believe that there could be a better life for my mother and my brother, and I had to be there, to with them through this. So I spoke to my friends about it. I went to the psychiatrist, and almost 3-4 years down the line, I'm really happy with my life. And my message for you is that what the one quote which inspired me was that to give light you must undergo burning. So a kind of spiritual belief that there's a bigger picture behind this and it's meant to be is what helped me go through this. And I hope you also will find your faith and come out of this strong, because trust me, it's worth all of it.
Let me give you a short example, or I would rather say my own experience, how there was failure and how I was able to overcome it. During my school days, I was not a bright student, right? And studying in a CBSE school compounded by problems manifolds. In my 9th grade, I failed. My school told my parents that we will not be able to allow him to continue in this school, because even though we pass him to the next stage, which is 10th standard, he is going to affect our results of our school. The option that they gave was, we will say that he is passed, but he cannot continue here, you can look out for another school. So what we did, what my parents did, we all went and sought an admission in a matriculation, and there too I had to write an entrance exam which I couldn't do well, but somehow I was able to manage to scrape inside the school and start my 10th standard. Believe me, how stressful it would have been for me as a child during that time, with not many exposures what current generation has. How much pressure it would have been on my parents and the society, the pressure that they put on a child and their parents if someone does not really do well in education, which is a trend even now. Sorry to say that. So what I did was, I didn't break up there. I didn't go into depression. Yes, For a few days I was upset. But then I picked up myself. I sat and thought to myself, how can I change this? First, by understanding what are the causes that has happened because of me, which has caused these kind of situations. In this case, the failures. I understood that. I tried to see what I should do to ensure that I move forward rather than moving backwards. The result, I was able to secure 80% and above in each of my exams in 10th, 11th and 12th, and I got a decent admission in a college to continue my college studies. Friends, everyone has their own unique issues. Everyone has their own unique problems. But I'm asking you, and I'm telling you more importantly, there's no ready-made template to solve everybody's problems because everybody is unique. But what I ask you is just to sit back, understand what caused you that failure and introspect and then take an action. Suicide is not an option at all. Please take it out of your list. Thank you.
Depression is an illness. What did it make me feel? Depressed, sad, stressed, unwanted, not loved. Depression also led me to think about suicide. I didn't do it because I acknowledged the fact that I was depressed. I sought help at the right time and I was able to battle it. Depression can be cured because it's an illness and illnesses can be cured. For depression, understand that you need to acknowledge it in order to treat it. Depression can be cured. I am a depression survivor.
What mental health needs is more sunlight,
more cancer,
and more unashamed conversation.